Welcome back, everyone, to this next match of our fourth day of Alliance Tournament 10, Winner's Day. This is Ravy here with Michael Bolton III, and we're bringing you Goonswarm Federation versus Out of Sight. Michael, why don't you tell us a bit about the teams we got here?
Well, Out of Sight has brought a variation of the standard Slipnar Scimitar team with 2 Slipnars, a Scimitar, 1 Merlin, and 2 Griffins hoping to get some jams out. Goonswarm Federation has brought 2 Cyclones, a Scimitar, an Auto Tornado, and 2 Sabers. So they've both warped in at range from the beacon, and match is about to start.
Yeah, this is two quite strong setups. I think they both have a lot of potential, and they both do a lot of DPS, which is going to be very helpful for them. These teams, even if they lose, as long as they get, in this case, Out of Sight needs 15 points and Goonswarm needs 12. All they need to do is get a couple kills, and they'll be guaranteed to go through. So we're seeing the countdown starting. Both teams have warped in their support, like their scimitars, out at further range, but no one's come in right at 0, which I think is a smart choice. Gives you more flexibility.
Oh, a Griffin goes down immediately.
That tornado is running autocannons, but they have great range even with autocannons using that fall off, so they can pick off things like those Griffins very quickly. Great job on his part.
Somebody did not double click in space fast enough to get moving.
So we're seeing the Goonswarm team pulling range. Looks like they're going to try to take advantage of that tornado's range advantage over the Out of Sight team. So they're pulling back and trying to kite while Out of Sight is chasing them across the arena. But we're going to see what their next target is with that tornado.
An interesting move that both teams have chose to opt for in this match at warp in is to warp in their sort of frigs next to their logistics to sort of like run, point, and block for their logistics. So if the other team beelines for it, they can sort of get their scimitars out, which I think is a great move, and not enough teams are doing, actually.
Yes, leaving some ships, especially your frigates, back by your logistics is a great choice. I think that's something that probably would have helped out our last teams, the Revolution team, last match. But we're seeing DPS being very low at the moment. Well, there another shot went off onto one of the Griffins for Out of Sight, so he's taking a lot of damage, but he is being repped up easily. It looks like right now it's just a question of who can get their tackle onto a key ship early.
And that Merlin goes down. Very nice move.
However,
there
that
by
Merlin went down because of a boundary violation. The Merlin of Kessler of Out of Sight has left the arena, and CCP Sreeks has very happily pressed the big red button and destroyed him.
He does love blowing up ships.
So the Goons have done what I think is a very clever tactic in this case. Yeah, they're a Sreek saying yay in local. They've done something where they pull their team right out to the edge of the arena, sit at the edge, and then wait for the opposing team to shoot right at them, past them out of the arena. That tornado is sitting at like 117 kilometers from the beacon. The Scimitar's at 112. It is a great tactic to use against teams, especially that don't have the experience and practice the Goons have. Goons have put a lot of practice into this tournament. They've been working really hard, and that shows. This is an excellent tactic on their part.
Yeah, it's important to know. Oh, the tornado at one point was at 122 kilometers from the beacon. Only 3 kilometers, which on a tornado is not that much time from a boundary violation. Goonswarm cutting it very close. Goonswarm Federation known for their piloting skill in EVE Online.
We're seeing the Goons now turning their damage to one of the remaining Cyclones here, or one of the remaining Sleipnir, sorry, for Out of Sight. And he's, got repped up, caught reps at the last minute. Excellent work on his part.
So for those of you who are not familiar with the Scimitar, one of the advantages of shield reps over armor reps is the fact that the rep lands at the beginning of the cycle, giving you a whole cycle in time faster than you can get the reps on. If that had been an armor rep there, that ship would have almost certainly been dead. But luckily, the Scimitar pilot was very skilled and sort of perhaps saw the lock and had broadcast before the damage started coming in.
One other tactic we're seeing be done very effectively from the Goon team, likely from the Sabers, is that they've got some sensor dams. And they're shifting the sensor dams between the different members of the team. As we see there, one of the Griffins go down for Out of Sight, and that's the last of their frigs. They're shifting the damps between the opposing ships. They're putting them on the Griffins, on the Scimitars, and that's making it hard for these ships for Out of Sight to judge what their lock range is. I think the reason that Sleipnir took so much damage and went down so quickly was that the Scimitar had gotten out of range, expecting that he would have a long lock range, and then the damps got switched to him, he lost lock and had to burn in, and only burned in the last second. However, when he burned in, he got tackled, and now he's got a lot of DPS applied to him now. He is boosting himself, but they're splitting a lot of damage between him and that Sleipnir, and he looks like he's not going to survive too much longer.
Yeah, that Scimitar is in way too close right now. Finally, some damage coming in onto these Sabers. I think these Sabres needed to be taken out much earlier. They were just too useful in this match.
Killing Sabres always should be a high priority, considering that they do so much DPS and they've got good utility with E-War, but they're really easy to kill. Compared to frigates, they've got a large sensor or signature radius, so they're really easy to hit with large guns as that Scimitar goes down for out of sight, and that's going to be quickly followed by the Sleipnir. It's worth noting, Goons have not lost a single ship yet, and at this point it doesn't look likely that they will lose a ship, which means that it's very bad news for Out of Sight, who's going to have a very hard time advancing, and very good news for a team like, which one was it? Actually, it's Shadow Cartel up next. If the Out of Sight team doesn't get enough points, Shadow Cartel will be guaranteed in, and I'm really happy about that because Shadow Cartel has done a great job so far. I get in some real tough adversity. They had a ship drop last weekend, but then managed with some great piloting on the part of Tengu and Cyclone to pull it back.
Yeah, damage coming in the tornado, but I think that's going to be actually a lot of damage coming in. A lot of damage.
That's he's getting revved up though. If he can pull out.
Yeah, but he's taking bites out of armor.
Yes. Now, if they can take that Sleipnir down first, which he very well may, because the Sleipnir's back into structure, then that should reduce the damage low enough that the tornado can survive. But that's good job on the part of the Goon Scimitar, keeping the tornado alive in armor, and tornadoes don't have a lot of hit points.
Yeah, and I think this last Sleipnir will swiftly follow. It is thoroughly tackled.
It's worth noting. Now that we see that Shadow Cartel is going to be going through because of Out of Sight not getting very many points, last match with Out of Sight yesterday, or sorry, with Shadow Cartel versus the Kadeshi, we saw a great maneuver that I didn't catch on the stream. The broadcaster didn't catch when it happened at the time, but I had it pointed out to me later. The Tengu for Shadow Cartel, when their Cyclone was actually getting into low shields, he had to reload his ancillary shield booster and was going to die. The Tengu swung around and bumped his own teammate to get him out of web range so that he could pull range and reload his booster, and that saved the day for them. That was amazing piloting on their part, and I'm very happy to see them go through because they're going to do some great things, I think.
Yeah, I always love to see Top Gun piloting like that. There was a move last year where a ship, like we saw today actually in this match, burned to the edge of the arena and then put on the brakes at the last second at like 124 kilometers, and the like 2 other ships flew right past and died of boundary violations. Piloting skill really
is very important.
Matches. Yeah.
And great job to Goonswarm. Perfect, flawless victory. They're going to go through. Shadow Cartel's going to go through. Tune in about 10 minutes for our next match, which is going to be Dead Terrorist versus Team Liquid.